I think Griselda hit at the right time because
I disagree.
it was ready.
I disagree. Because you had Papoose, you had Stag Bundles, you had the Jim Jones, you had all kind of movements coming out of New York. You had Busta Rhymes. Busta hasn't dropped the album in 13 years.
Come out to the bar.
What up, YouTube? Welcome to the basement. My name is Bruce Lively, and I'm here to say cheers. We back. Unfortunately, we don't have our illustrious host Sonia Coore with us tonight, so I'll be acting as the host.
We miss you, Mrs. Coore.
We miss you.
Now we gotta look at Bruce.
Right.
You know, yeah, she is more.
That's not as pleasant.
Look at what you want me to say. That's the facts. That's the facts. But listen, we're here, people. Bruce Lively is here. Everybody else, introduce your name. To my left, we have.
It's your boy Josh over here. All G's React. Y'all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know where you at.
Exactly. And below me, we have.
And I think y'all already know the other half of the basement. Yeah, I'm in the building. It's D-Boy Slim, as usual, checking in.
From day one to day none. This is how we do it. So you guys are here on a very special day. I'm so glad you tuned in. Number one, please go visit the Patreon. Support independent hip-hop. Support independent media. All we do on this channel is hip-hop and politics. Number two, if you have been watching the Karen videos we've been putting out, thank you. We got thousands and thousands of views and subscribers off from Karen videos. We got another one coming to you next week. Do not fret. But I wanted you to see the face behind the video. That's me, Bruce Lively. Number three, we back. We are back. We got 3 album reviews. 3 full album reviews, people. Number one, Busta came out. I'll be speaking about that tonight. Number 2, NAS came out. Josh will be speaking about that tonight. And number 3, Benny the Butcher, Griselda came out.
Fire.
You already know who's speaking about that. Does he speak about anything else? That's the question.
Fire.
That's the question.
Who?
Fire.
Who?
Fire.
Subscribe.
Also, we'll be covering, briefly, my man Bruce enlightened me on a situation that happened on the battle stage, on the battle platform.
Oh, Miss Miami. She threw the Crip flag on the ground.
We're gonna get into that real light.
First of all, she threw the Crip flag on the ground. She said F Tukey. She said the only good Crip is a dead Crip. And not only did she throw it on the ground, she stepped on it and smushed it. She did the twist, money. She did the twist. My ninja, she did the twist on it. Stepped it and smushed it into the wood panel. Now, the only time I've known that you can do that to someone else's family flag is when you look at, is you the ops. You the op, like the ops. You're not a battle, you the ops. Or you just looking to get killed. Now, I don't understand what she wanted from that, but it's unacceptable. You're going too far. You're going too far.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that, but we're gonna save that a little bit for a little bit later.
All right, man. Since I know you ready for it, bro. Let me hear about this Benny the Butcher, man. Talk to me. What was this album like?
First of all, we talking about Benny. As y'all know, or unless you've been under a rock, as the fella stated, the Griselda movement is something that we haven't seen in a while. I'm definitely enjoying the ride. I'm definitely on board with the movement. Kudos and hats off. You know, I hope Benny gets well soon. We heard about Benny just getting shot recently down there in Houston.
That's another video for another day. What's going on? But go ahead.
That's a fact. I had to mention that.
Yeah.
But the burden of proof. To be honest with you, in this day and time, for an album, he's been dropping. He's been flooding all platforms with all type of content, all type of features. So for him to have I won't say perfected, but definitely profoundly put down an album and put out an album that's refreshing, to say the least. And I say refreshing because, as these other two gentlemen will mention, this album is a bit different from the norm or the trend that's been going on in hip hop lately. Whereas you have the trap music and the trap dance and the club ready beats and the radio friendly beats. This one is back. It's back to, and the music was great. It's just not the typical music that you hear in 2020, or maybe that you've heard in the last 5 years. The music was great. You got production in there by everybody from Alchemist to
that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, he has Alchemist on there, of course. He has Hitmaker. He had production from Hit Boy, not Hitmaker. Sonically, the music is definitely on point. I think it's stretching the envelope and allowing us to grow up. I think, you know, lack of better words, I think it's allowing hip hop. You know, it's okay to dance and it's okay to have fun. I think I love Benny because he stuck to the script as far as the content, as far as speaking about the pain and that he's going through in his life, being more elaborate than the average guy that talks that life and eloquently putting it. You got features in there from everybody from Rick Ross to, oh my God, you got all kind of features in there. Freddie Gibbs is another one that comes to mind.
What was that? What song was that?
One Way Flight is the name of the song with him and Freddie Gibbs. Once again, like I said, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. They have a good chemistry. They're kind of on the same. It was a good look anyway when you put Benny and Freddie Gibbs on the same track because of the content and the music selection. Benny has a thing with selecting good music as well, and they're right on par with the joint that they have and the collaboration that they have together. So, yeah, he has a bunch of features on there. He has a joint with Lil Wayne on there. Yeah, man. Burden of Proof.
Favorite
joints
song?
Is fire, man, all the way through. Of course, he got the rest of the Griselda camp as far as West Side and Conway on there. Fire. He got the joint called Slide Green. That's about the notorious, you know, if y'all didn't know, about the notorious made man who's doing, you know, several lives for bodies or whatever, but they're connected to him as far as Buffalo and, you know, that the streets and the mobster stuff is concerned. You know, they have ties to him, so he has a song about that going into it briefly. Yeah, man, it's official, it's authentic, it's everything we would expect from Benny the Butcher and more. Because like I said, the music sonically, he's taking it to a different level as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm gonna ask you some specific questions in a minute. Let me hear the NAS, man. What you got, Josh? Overview.
I like this album, and I'm gonna give you my reasons why. It's like going through a time machine, and the which way that he actually selected these tracks and set it up. You know what I'm saying? He starts off with like Car 85, you know what I'm saying, Blue Benz, things like that. But he's taking you back to things that at the time of his youth he thought was real important and things that was hot to what the environment he was around. And then you kind of start getting that while he's dropping knowledge all the way through, because that's just Nas and we know
Every
that's just
song,
what he does.
I heard that.
That's just what he does. You know what I'm saying? That's what we expect of our King Nas.
That's what we become to expect.
Yeah, so even though he's doing that, he then starts bringing it more towards, you know, introducing some of the youth, even though he's dropping some knowledge on like violence and relationships and, you know, relationships between black men, black women, things like that. He's still introducing some of the younger guys with the features, you know what I mean? So I like what he did with it. I like how he tried to do that through this album, you know, totally. Because track selection and where you put certain songs is important, and I don't think a lot of people realize that you can tell a great story if you got your album track selected correctly. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So some of my favorites: Blue Benz, 27 Summers, Till the War is Won, 10 Points, The Cure. I really like 10 Points in The Cure a lot.
10 points.
Yeah, I really like it. But the banger, like 10 Points and The Cure, are like my songs where I want to sit back and actually listen to the king speak on these certain subjects. But like the banger is my 27 Summers. That's the one out playing that one over and over and over. I was like, I like this. I like him talking his shit on this song.
Yeah.
So,
Give it a rating. What is it, 1 through 10?
honestly, I'm gonna be real. I always gotta be real with these albums, and I'm gonna say it's a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Only because some of these songs is too short, and I don't know if that has something to do with the way the producer wanted to do it, which is Hit Boy, by the way. He executively produced this whole album. But some of the, like, the length of the songs picked up, I want to say mid to end, like mid to end of the album, but some of them minute 50, you know what I'm saying? They were short in the beginning. So I would like to see that run a little bit longer on some of these tracks.
Hit Boy been working, huh?
Yeah,
Hit Boy's been busy. Evidently, Hit Boy's been real busy.
Okay, so 7 out of 10 for Nas, from Josh. What 1 through 10? D-Boy.
8.5.
8.5, Benny. So it's my turn, y'all. Let me tell you something about Bust. Let me tell you something about Bust.
Bust the bus, man.
Let me tell you something about Bust, y'all. This is the most complete, forward-thinking album. Complete album and forward-thinking album. Not only in terms of lyrics. Lyrically speaking, Bust has never gone this deep. When he's talked about relationships before, it's been on the surface. It's been with Janet Jackson and Mariah Carey, you know, What You Want to Do. It's been a few nuggets, never this deep, personal, actual talking about relationships, child rearing, fights, and coming back together, and black love, including someone like Rhapsody on songs to even expound on these topics. When it comes to talking about politics, I haven't heard him. I'm Busta fan. Busta fan. He hasn't been able. He never really goes that far. He's the rhyme spitter. He's the party guy. But this time he chose to go through 22 different songs on an album. 22 songs on an album. And each one had something in there that was relevant to either his life, your life, or the life that we're living, politics around it, what this whole show is about. The producers, the different types of production. He did go back to the 90s with the feel and the style, as well as taking it back, as well as taking it up to date. All the way from Swiss Beats to Jay Dilla and Pete Rock. He produced. Busta Rhymes helped produce some of these. We got people like DJ Premier, High Tech, to the new guys, Anderson .Paak. Okay? Anderson .Paak. Rick Ross helped produce some of these joints. Yes, Knots produced some of this joint. So, I mean, when I say complete, I mean not only lyrically, not only subject-wise, not only in production, not only in the fact that it's 23 songs that are all different. It's just in all of that combined you have a complete Busta Rhymes album. It may be his most complete that I've ever heard. It's the least silly because I love his silliness. Comedy is a part of what writing is all about, right? But this is the least silly, most important album. And I realized why it took him 10 years to make it. That's my overview. If I'm gonna give it I'm gonna also say I'm gonna give it an 8, not an 8.5. I'm gonna give it an 8 simply because I heard Nas's album. I don't want to say a 9. Like I'm tempted to say it's a definite 9, but I feel like only because of how young it is, I'm over judging it because I love him so much. So I'm literally consciously dialing it back to an 8. But don't be surprised if you guys hear me come out and say 9 and say solid 9 next month after I have time to think about it and listen to it again.
So you got a 1 point bias going on there?
I don't want to say 9 because it could be a bias. So I'm going to start the next part off. We're going to go into songs specifically. Now, when you talk about Bus, man, Slow Flow with an Old Dirty Bastard is on the hook where he samples some ODB, right?
Right.
There's song Oh No where the beat is just straight up to date, fire. It's trappy, but it's him. We also got songs where he's the Don and the Boss featuring Vibes Cartel, where he takes it to the reggae flow. You see what I'm saying? Like, only he can do this. When I say complete, this is what I mean. Like, y'all listen to it, Don and the Boss. And every single song on here is already in the millions. We talk about views. Then he goes, when he wants to talk about something more important, Master Fard Muhammad, featuring Rick Ross, where he's talking about Black excellence and the continuation of that. Just those 3 alone, you talk Oh No, the Don and the Boss, Master Fard Muhammad, you're already up there. And then you know, I am a fan of Rhapsody. So his song with Rhapsody, Best I Can, where he's actually going in depth, relationship-wise, black love-wise, and he chose Rhapsody to come help out. That one, produced by Ninth Wonder. If you haven't heard it, y'all go listen to it. The man has not lost a step rap-wise, but content-wise, he's gained one. Honestly. Go ahead, D-Boy. I see you shaking your head. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm 100%. I'm 100%. Go ahead, D-Boy. Tell us. Benny the Butcher. Give us songs. Give us specifics.
Well, as I mentioned, there's the joint with Hit Boy. That song is called Legend. There's a joint with Freddie Gibbs, The One Way Flight. The song titled Burden of Proof. There's a song called Burden of Proof. The one with Conway and Westside, War Paint. The joint with Rick Ross, Where Would I Go, Sly Green. Yeah, like I said, it goes on and on. And on all those joints I mentioned, he stays pretty consistent. And then just talking about his life, it's different from trying to glorify street life and then you're just talking about your life. And your life goes into street life. Your life goes into the pain that your mother felt. Your life goes into why you had to bury your brother a certain way. Like it goes into depth. Your younger brother being sent to prison at a young age before driving his first car. Like these specifics and going into his life and going in depth. It's like I said, it's unique in itself because of his story. And like I said, nobody really articulates it like Benny. So on top of that, the music is dope. Variety and versatility when it comes to the production. Less trap and more,
Boom
vibe
back.
your head. Like I guess you would say the 90s vibe because it's you have to listen. You have to tune in and you have to actually listen to it. So
Yo, let's talk about that. You can get in on this, Josh. Bus did the same thing. It seems to be a revival. If not just a revival, we can call it a defiant stance from the old heads that this music still exists and deserves its place. For some reason, Bus did the same, a lot of that. I mean, you could just hear he was like, I will not conform, even though he had stuff for the new age. I thought Nas was like that too. Talk about it, Josh. What do you think about the whole feel of these 3 albums like that?
I feel like just not on these albums, but in general of a lot of our vets, our middle, or how J. Cole might call them, like middle children rappers. A lot of them don't really just follow that trend of I'm finna jump on these trap 808 beats, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I'm gonna do. A lot of them keep their variety and they keep their boom bap sound, like you said earlier. They keep that because that's just a historical, you know, word I'm looking for is kind of like foundation of
cornerstone.
The cornerstone of our hip hop now. So we can ride all types of waves, but we all know all these waves come down eventually. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna roll with? The wave, or you gonna roll with that cornerstone? You know what I'm saying? That cornerstone gonna keep you and keep your listeners coming back to what you actually saying. You don't want to be drowned out by a repetitious hypnotic sound when you actually got something to say, like Busta got something to say, or Benny got something to say, or Nas got something to say. You don't want to do that. So that's why they don't do it. Like I said, even with Nas just want to take you on this trip. You know what I'm saying? Hey, follow me, track 1, you know what I'm saying, all the way to this end of, and the music, the stories, situations that he's talking about going through it. Even the song with Dirk, where Dirk is using that high
he's got auto-tune on there.
That high auto-tune going. Nas ain't conforming to that. Nas is still gonna tell you about the strength of, you know, the Chicago women who have to bury their sons and things like that. He's not doing that, but he had Dirk on there because that's where Dirk is from. So it's a representation of, here goes somebody who's from what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I found really funny? You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of when 3 Stacks, when Andre got on the White Tee song, or when he got on the song with UGK, they talking about pimping, he's talking about marriage. He always finds a way to not step on your toes, but still be himself. The fact that he had Lil Durk on that and talked about what he talked about, and let the autotune do what it does, you have to be good to let that happen, right? And not lose a step.
No,
really
not at all.
Good.
Not at all. So I love it, man. I love everyone sticking to that cornerstone with this music, man. Like, that's important because we know that this is the political stuff, you know, like you said, Bus got political stuff, you know what I'm saying? Nas always been on
we already know.
You know what I'm saying? So I like that because that's kind of how it just all started out, talking about what's going on, talking about what's been happening to the community, you know what I'm saying, how we're viewed by political leaders and things like that. So I just love it. I just like it that much. Go ahead.
I like what you said earlier about the fact that the album was set up in a way to tell a story. Like, even how the very first song has no beat and it's really musical, and then the ending ends the same way. Like, you set up the songs to tell a story, not with words, but sonically. And of course, Busta actually did the same thing. When he added in the reggae and he added in the soft and the hard and the skit, he's still of old school of starting with an introduction, ending with an ending, and telling a story throughout, just sonically, not with the words, even though you could say that too, but sonically, you're listening to a story being told, and the way that the beats hit you and the feel hits you. Did Butcher do that?
Actually, he did. And being as though the concept of the album being burden of proof. One thing I want to say, in which with the term that you're describing, and I happen to know for a fact as far as Busta is they did concept albums.
It's a concept album.
And Bus definitely did that because I told you guys off air, I watched the interview with him. But pretty much Benny did that too. And I also wanted to touch on the reason why we're seeing that shift in the climate as far as you mentioned, Josh, going back to the boom bap and it being a cornerstone of hip hop. I would want to have to attribute it to New York, obviously, the birthplace, and the fact, when you talk about Nas, Benny the Butcher, and Busta Rhymes, obviously the one thing that they all have in common is that they're all from New York.
Okay. Where are we going with this, D-boy?
Griselda, no, because you mentioned why the music went back to that feel of I guess the tempo slowing down, and as you mentioned, Josh, it not being 808 and trappy as the terms that you described. I'm just giving you what I think, what you would attribute that to. But obviously, like I said, a big part of that to me is Griselda. Whether people want to, whether you guys want to admit it or not, a big part of that is Griselda. But also the J. Cole's, the people that kind of stuck to their way of doing hip hop. Anyway, I would have to give credit to also. But that wave right now where it's okay and it's cool again to come with that type of music, I would have to attribute a big part of that to Griselda.
So let me get this straight. Go ahead, Josh.
I also want to say I mainly contributed to the fact that since the boom bap beats are a little bit more difficult for you to actually weave your rhymes in and out and actually move about, seeing how they have progressed, and it kind of kicks out people who can't rap. You know what I'm saying? Right. It kind of kicks people out who can't really rap. So to me, when you have these spitters who we have in these reviews right now, it seems normal basically that's what's going to be. And plus you said they all from New York, so that's what they're going to want to roll with, to show that representation.
That's who they are at their core. That was my point in saying that.
Yeah.
That's who they are at their core.
I'm going to call BS though, really quick. If you're going to tell me that the guy who's been rapping for 30 years over the same most intricate, different beats of all time that's ever been made is Busta Rhymes, why he came out with another album that had the most different beats and intricate and ridiculous sounding beats that's ever been made again, has to do with Griselda or anybody else. So I'm gonna say no. Now I will agree with you. Griselda has stood their ground, and they came out with this, with that hardcore boom bap. But I would not say that this album is an outlier. This Busta album is an outlier. Listen to, it's not boom bap. It is flip mode. Y'all remember, like the crazy beat that, sure, it was from New York because he's from New York, but it's not. You can't say that beat was this or that beat was that. It's as crazy as ba-ba-bum, bum, bum, ba-ba-bum, bum, bum. It's not boom bap. It's not trap. It's crazy. It's different. And it's as different as Busta is on his rhymes and his Jamaican heritage where he pulls from, as well as the New York heritage where he pulls from. This album is an outlier to that sentiment. Where there is love. Wait a minute. Hold on. I mean, we're talking like, I won't even get into it because I don't want to get messed up.
Yeah.
I don't want to get messed up on YouTube. But stuff like
nigga one record channel, great located, don't post it, nigga garden. Pop niggas up, now watch out on my rock on my.
That's trap, straight up trap. But it's with a Jamaican influence on trap. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, he switched it up. I like that.
Because he has these different influences to draw from. That's why it turns from an 8 to a 9. Because you can't redo it. You understand what I'm saying? You can't even place it half the time because it comes from a very distinct well to draw from. That bucket comes up with a different color water every time. What do you think about that, D-boy?
I want to first address what you said in the fact, first off, you asked us why we thought that the music had gone back to those type of albums. And I simply gave you my take on why I felt that the albums went back to that feel and that vibe. So you making the distinction of who Busta is and what his sound is like. It holds no bearing. I was never disputing that with you from the get go.
No,
but I'm glad to see your passion and excitement about the. But I may smoke, but I still keep a train of thought and what the topic is at hand.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. You know what that was? You know what that was? That was built up angst about.
Nah, you just want to say, no. It's not New York. It's not Griselda. It's not New York. That's what you wanted to say. But it's okay. That's fine.
Right. You're 100%
That's
right.
fine too. That's fine too.
Nah, you're right. That was built up angst.
All right.
That was built up angst over you and this daggone Griselda for the past year. That's what that was. That's
okay.
That's what that was. You're 100% right.
Shouts to Griselda. Like when you see people get mad like that, where they jump off topic just to hate on the movement. They ask you a question. Well, why did hip hop change back to this? Well, I don't think it was Griselda. Like, yo, man, you gotta stop that right there, man. You gotta cut that out, man.
So, but they are the only ones. Coore brought that back though, before Griselda was out though. I mean, you said that as well. So when you say it's largely in part Griselda, what I think is Griselda hit at the right time. I'm gonna stop. You know, I'm being funny, but I think Griselda hit at the right time because
I disagree.
It was ready.
I disagree. Because you had Papoose, you had Stag Bundles, you had the Jim Jones, you had all kind of movements coming out of New York. You had Busta Rhymes. Busta hasn't dropped the album in 13 years. Reason why? Because the stuff coming out of New York just wasn't relevant. You had Fred the God, you had Ransom, you had Styles P, you had the D Block movements. It wasn't relevant after a while until Griselda did it with their story being unique and being from upstate New York, which we never heard from. They came with it. You can't take that from them. You can't take that from them. Over the span of 10 years, since the DVD era, New York just hasn't been relevant. New York just hasn't been relevant. And like I said, even when Nas did it in 2003, it just wasn't relevant. It was good music to us, but it just wasn't relevant as far as what it was charting or what it was selling as far as record sales and streams. It just wasn't that relevant until Griselda did it.
So you can take it from both sides. I can see how Bruce said that, you know, Griselda came in at the right time because we all know everything bubbles up and it eventually pops. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
if you take it from like everyone is now just spamming the market with this trap sound consistently over and over and over and over again, eventually it's going to bubble up and it's going to pop. So if you come out at the right time to where everyone is now over the sound, you can skyrocket by using.
But I think you undermine when you do that. When you make that analogy, it undermines the grind that they put in. It wasn't just the overnight success. Like, oh, let's come out right now. Like it's right at the right time for us to come out right now. They've been grinding for years. It's not until Slim Shady knocks on your door and say, okay, let me sign you to this deal and put our resources behind you and put the machine behind you to create the buzz that you need worldwide and internationally, so everybody know it's not a joke. It's not until Jay-Z's knocking at your door like, damn, well, you got a deal. Let me see if Benny and this Black Soprano film, when you put those deals in motion, like I said, that's only because of your grind that you put in. It's not because, we just came at the right time.
No.
They've been putting in a grind over here.
Nobody wants to talk bad about nobody's talking about the grind there. I'm just asking the question. This is just a thought experiment.
I'm just saying, if you say that, they just came at the right time.
Wait a minute, let me say it though. When you have Cole, when you have your Kanye produce with Jay Elect, with Pusha T, all of this comes out, and it's a really big year 2 years ago for no trap at all in it. You know what I'm saying? And it all of this stuff starts from the fringe, and then you add on that the advent of this internet lifestyle where people can actually start choosing what they want and not what they hear on the radio, and underground rappers start coming back big again. Logic, you know what I'm saying? And it starts to become more backpack again. What's Marlon Craft? Like, you see these people start making it. Yeah, you can be the first one to come from Buffalo. And so now when you come out after your grind, the stage has been set for that to be dope, is what I'm saying.
And you got a longevity with your grind, because your grind.
And you've been grinding.
It's not to say that you just came out at the right time, because you could drop one song and that if all you got is 12 songs, you ain't gonna last long. But they got this whole history behind them. The grind shows. But yes, you can pop out at the prime with the machine behind you and all of that. Yeah, that can still happen. It doesn't take away from the quality of what you do.
I'm saying, that has to happen. That's not by chance. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference in what I'm saying. That doesn't happen by chance. That happens because of the grind. There's a process involved before you sign with Shady and Jay-Z at the same time. That's my point.
But I'm also saying it doesn't happen without the past 4 years before that. That people started to
listen. I'm not taking away from nothing no other artist has done. But Benny and the Griselda is not J. Cole and Logic. It's a whole different lane. I'm not taking away from good hip hop and the substance that comes with it, listening to a J. Cole, J. Electronica, or a Logic. I'm not taking away from any of that. But we all know their music is slightly different because they're strictly street. But what I'm saying though is it doesn't. The climate that they chose. J. Cole has had trap music. He's on tracks with 21 Savage. You understand what I'm saying? Like, who's the other guy you just mentioned? Like, all I'm saying is the way that they did it, it didn't just happen because, we decided to drop out the sky at this time and now is a good time to do it. Nah, it was a grind. It was a process in their grind. Not in anybody else, like you said, because you can say, common sense set the platform for J. Cole. You would be right, but J. Cole did what J. Cole did. You can't take away credit from what J. Cole did because of what Common did 10 years prior to that. I respectfully, like I said, I respect what you're saying about J. Cole and J. Electronica and those other dudes that have substance in their raps. What we were talking about though was the music.
I hear you. But only
the music, like I said, they stuck to a manuscript. They stuck to a script that hadn't been stuck to since the 90s. That's why it sounded straight like a blueprint of what was going on in the 90s. Nobody else had done that.
I hear you.
They didn't conform, like you said, not 1 inch.
I mean,
J. Cole has done. He's had his trap joints and music and radio friendly joints. He's had joints like that.
So what you're saying is, like what you're basically saying is like, all right. So when you get the machine behind you, you're still and you have this grind. That's what's going to happen. But we seen that didn't happen with Slaughterhouse. Get what I'm saying?
That's my point. You making my point because it's not Griselda. It's not Griselda. That's my point. Other people have tried it and it didn't work.
Okay.
Other people have tried it and it didn't work. That's my point.
Okay.
That's my point.
All right. I will say, I mean, all those good points, man. You guys leave it down there in the comment section. What do you think about the whole idea of that? Like, where did it come from? How did this defiance? And I'm gonna use that word defiance because in an ending, I want to say people like Griselda, Benny the Butcher, people like Nas, the King God himself, people like Busta Rhymes, the ultimate rhyme sayer with ultimate respect from all genres and all, I mean from rock to hip
And
hop.
respectfully, Slaughterhouse was dope.
Wait a minute.
Slaughterhouse was dope.
Yeah.
Joe Button, Joel Ortiz, Crooked Eye, them dudes was dope.
Man,
Respectfully.
stop that. Hold on. Let me finish this quick train of thought. Hold on. The defiance. When we listen to all three of these people we're talking about today, there's a definite defiance that I think stems from the tiredness that Josh was talking about. And they're like, you know what? I could easily. We just heard Bus kill a trap beat, but he just spit reggae on it. He just spit patois on it. But all 23 songs is back to that old school flip mode where the beats are from left field. Griselda, they always came out with. From what I hear from you, Benny the Butcher just said, forget all of that. We going boom bap. And Nas once again told his elaborate painting of a story in 9 songs. I like the defiance is my ending. I think the great ones know that they're great and felt like it was time to prove themselves again. They felt like I don't have no problem with the young dudes. I don't have no problem with the trap. I mean, we're going to talk about T.I. next because a lot of other albums have come out, y'all, and we're going to talk about it. Leave it in the comments. But I feel like the defiance we're hearing from these ones who will be considered great like Benny Butcher and who have been considered great like Bus and Nas, this was a concerted effort.
I like what you said, Bruce. I like what you said.
Concerted effort to remind people that this is hip hop. It hasn't gone anywhere, and the great ones do it greatly without the necessity of whatever your fad is. Today, tomorrow, or 20 years from now. What do you think about that?
I'm just going to end with this as far as the Griselda thing is concerned. I'll leave you with these thoughts. The other two that you mentioned, Busta Rhymes and Nas, have been rhyming since 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Busta maybe even longer, since maybe 89, 90, when you talk about leaders of the new school and all of that right there.
Well,
I said that to say, Griselda's been in there half the time, yet we're in the same conversation with them, right?
And that is no doubt.
So,
you'll never hear another word from me about that. He's going to be considered a great. Let him
run the great. That's why I said I like what you just said about being one of the greats. Now I'm gonna just leave y'all guys with these thoughts. Once, like you said, Josh, they did get the machine behind them and they did get the major deal from Shady or whatever the case. How rare is it that on your first try, in a climate where, like you said, everything is trapped, you bet the house on somebody that's going back with the conventional boom bap? How rare is that?
Yeah, because you know they got something
you
special.
Think about that? Like in a convention where numbers, we know in this game, numbers is everything. We don't give a damn what you talking about. We don't give a damn about your block. We don't give a damn about how many people you shot. If it's trap, if it's stanky leg in the club, you better be stanky legged. If we doing the Millie Rock this week, you better be doing the Millie Rock. How rare is it that somebody, a major label says, you know what? I bet the house that this boom bap is gonna work again. That's
right.
That's an indication. And like I said, I would attribute that to, like you said, their greatness or their potential greatness at the very least.
I will agree with that. Point well taken. For the time remaining, go ahead, Josh.
I'm just going to say that, like I said, I see it both ways with what Bruce has said and what you said. You got the grind, you got the work, but that's why I brought up Slaughterhouse, because Slaughterhouse was elite MCs covering all 4 corners of this country. You feel what I'm saying? From the west to the east. So, but the trap was too strong when they came out. They couldn't break through. No matter how many songs you had, no matter how hard they was hitting, from Hammer Dance to whatever you want to play from Slaughterhouse, the trap was too strong. Everybody was still being hypnotized. It comes a time when shit pops. You can have all the work, you can show everything you're doing, you can get the machine, and it can still be the right time. Grind with right time. That's just the way that can happen sometimes.
Timing is everything. A lot of rappers have spoken about that. A lot of great people have spoken about that. Timing is everything, but it doesn't take away from the greatness
Not at all.
that we're hearing in all three of these albums.
Not
you
at
guys
all.
have to go check them out. It's online, man, but don't just listen to it online. Go ahead and purchase a 99-cent download. Do something to support these artists if you still really want to continue to hear it. That's the key. Go see a concert. Support these artists. We really have had such an outstanding year in hip-hop. And there was a time there. There was a time. I mean, 6 years ago, I told you this, D-Boy. You know this. There was a time when I was done with hip-hop. I'm like, man, obviously it surpassed me. I'm obviously not cool enough to understand what's happening.
Yeah, that was right around the time we started hanging out.
Yeah. You know? Now I'm like, yo, where's my rock music? You see what's on the wall. Like, I'd rather
now
listen
you
to
have
reggae.
a hip-hop show.
Right. Well, you know what?
Go figure.
You know what? The truth is,
I won't take any credit in that.
You shouldn't. The truth is,
the guy who, like you said, less than 10 years said hip hop is dead.
The truth is, you were still trying to convince me of Future being outstanding. Yeah, you were still trying to convince me that Future was outstanding because he had a song about his sister. So,
all right, well, we only got 2 minutes left.
It's time, people.
We don't need to waste that on Future.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't get to talk about the Blue Rag. I gotta go.
Or 2 Chainz.
We gotta go.
Or Wiz.
2 Chainz.
Or Wiz Khalifa.
About. Come on. Anyway.
Or Wiz Khalifa.
Now, Khalifa.
Which one?
That's what's up. I'll take that. That's it, people. We out of here. Please go visit the Patreon. Please go visit All G's Reacts. Crazy reaction videos. Plus, you got a bunch more channels you need to go see. D-Boy Slim has been a part of this since the beginning and will stay here since the end. You guys know what this is. This is the Basement Debates, people. Peace.
We out.